All right, this is how to export a file after you've done a topo or whatever, and you want to get rid of it. So first, if you want to see where your points are at, you can just hit points, and then you can just kind of scroll down here, find out what points you were using. In my case, I was starting at 7,300, and I was moving those little icons next to those points. So usually those little bullseye looking points on there, those are points that you imported in. Those are not points that you actually stored. When you come down here, you can see where I was topoing. I'm going the wrong way. All right, let me get this figured out. I can't see. Okay. So down here in the 7,300 point range, that's where I started storing my points. And you can see how it's got the little guy with the rod. That means that's the symbol that I actually stored this point using a GPS, like as opposed to just an imported point. So anyway, so I know my point range. Sorry, let me get to where I can see that. All right. So that's my point range of 7,300 to 7,317. All right, so now that I know that, okay. So now go into transfer, and instead of import like what we did before, it's export. All right, so now we're in this file. So that's just kind of telling you what the data is. That's just a generic screen. I don't really do anything with that. All right, so now, if you wanted to just export the entire file, you don't have to bother checking anything, because if you don't check any of these boxes, it's just going to export every point that's in there. So if you started this job from scratch and you want to download everything you've done, then you just need to hit the next button. However, I don't want to re-download all these points, so I'm going to go under what is called the names range. Names range is point ID in Carlson, what we're all used to calling like point number or point ID or whatever. For some reason, they got to be difficult. They call it names in this. So, but that's all right. So then hit next. All right, so now it'll let you type that range in there. So just click on that box, and mine was 7,300 through 7,317, I think. I'll just say like 25. You can type a bigger range, that's fine. All right, so then you go to next. All right, so now this is where you're gonna want to put it. So I've got a folder in here I put for exports. That's the ones that I'm going to dump. It will not let you call it an ASCII file in this. You just, which a text file, an ASCII file, a .csv, they're all about the same thing. So I just call it a text file. That's fine. Call it whatever you want to name it. Like most of the time, I just call them by whatever lot we were surveying, or I'll try to simplify it a little bit. But basically, that's what I go for. So I might say something like Maples. I think it was lot 247. So lot 247. All right. All right. And it's going to hit in that folder. That gives you your directory up there at the top. So green check it. Okay. Now, this is where it's going to ask you, do you want to download it as codes or do you download it as notes? Now, the notes are designed, the reason why I'm using notes is that's designed more for Carlson. We've got kind of a unicorn situation here where we're using Topcon software on this data collector, but we're using Carlson software in the office. So in order for them to be compatible with each other, the best solution that I've come up with right now is when you're topoing and you want to be able to use line work, you have to basically write a note with a Carlson code in it. So in this case, I did that. So I'm going to select the one that uses notes. All right, now hit next. All right, check your scale factor again. Now, I'm not running a scale factor out here, so I obviously don't have one on here. But if you did run a scale factor, you just want this to stay the same. It will not transform your points as far as I know, because it should be applying the same scale factor that you applied to the points when you stored them, so it shouldn't change them. It also shouldn't change them if you exported them with a 1.00 scale factor, but it may. I've kind of done some trial and error, and I've done it both ways, and it has not moved the coordinates. I think the main thing is that it'll move those coordinates if you take the geoid off of it. So anyways, just green check. Yeah, do not change like that projection. that needs to be the same that it was when you were running your job. So if that projection is gone, or if that geoid is gone, your coordinates may end up moving, and you may want to stop what you're doing and back up and make sure you didn't make an error in the way you set that up. But anyway, so you should be able to green check that. It does it, and just hit close, and that's it. So then just transfer it normally, usually just using the Windows File Explorer format. Should be fun.